Welcome to our conversation today. I'm excited that you are the first person in this conversation series called Voices with Vinny.
Hi Vinita. Thank you for having me over for Voices with Vineet.
Tell us a little bit on how you got started on your journey.
I observed that there were lots of children playing on the streets and it was fun to watch them. But at the same time, I realized that somehow they didn't know many stories. I realized I should explore this because these children live in nuclear families and they don't have grandparents or anybody else to tell them stories. So I thought, why not start that at home? So I started having children over to tell stories twice a week. And also, I would encourage them to have healthy food during story time or after story time. I would distribute something healthy, avoiding the biscuits and chocolates and cakes. I would give them something like fruits or usli, and that is how it all started.
Now, you also have a background in teaching and theatre. So, can you talk a little bit to that?
I have always been interested since I was young. So I used to take part in school plays, college plays, and everything. Generally, I like to be around children. So I became a teacher, and that is how the combination of teaching and theatre came about, which helped me switch careers on and off between teaching and theatre and storytelling.
When you look back at it, I'm sure it all has fallen into place perfectly. Teaching, storytelling, and your background in theatre. In hindsight, it seems very clear. The next question, storytelling. It has evolved through ages. Today it's in video formats, it's in the format of movies and series. What do you see as the big difference when people used to read books and novels to where we are today with storytelling?
Storytelling, like you said, is an age old tradition. It has changed formats. But at the same time, though these new formats of videos and films or animation are good, they are all kind of ready to eat instant food, whereas oral storytelling needs to be kept alive to let the listeners absorb the story, imagine the story, feel the story, and experience it to the fullest with their senses, with their five senses of the body. And that is when it becomes a core memory for every one of those listeners. That is why oral storytelling is important.
I couldn't agree with you more. I used to love to listen to stories as a kid. One of the things that I realize about you is that you're not just a storyteller by profession, but also a storyteller out of passion. Now you have these storytelling sessions in the park. Can you tell me a little bit about how they came about and where do you conduct them?
Story time in the park was just a flash of ideas. I felt I should do something to the society and in the area where I stay. So I live in Banshankari second stage, and there is a small park near the house, near Aurobindo School, next to the water tank. So I thought, why not go there and sit in the gazebo and invite people, children come to play over there, take a musical instrument with me, and I just play it, and then I call them, come, I'll tell you stories. And till COVID happened, it went on very well. Without a break, I should say. It was beautiful. We celebrated a whole year at the end with New Year celebrations and Christmas celebrations and everything. And it was wonderful. But after COVID, it has been a little difficult to have people over. But still, I do it. Even if there is one person, I tell a story and return. It's a half an hour session, but then it goes on till 6 o'clock. I have it on most Saturdays, once a month, and I have a group to which I send intimations whenever it is happening. And whoever can come, even if one child is benefited, I'm happy for that. So I have people coming and going, floating population is there, but then I do enjoy it. And whether rain or shine, I'm there from 5 to 5:30.
Now, coming to what you do as an educator, how do you see the benefits of storytelling for teachers and educators today?
I call myself an edutainer rather than educator. Psychologists have said when topics of classroom are taught through stories, they remain in the children's memories for a longer period of time. In fact, there are so many stories that I have told children about science topics. Like, for example, if it is about a set of teeth which humans have, they can always remember a story and a song. Would you like an example of the song?
Sure.
When I teach children about teeth, I tell them a story about an animal who had toothache or something like that, and then follow it up with a song. It goes like this: we are teeth, we are teeth, we are teeth, an army of 32 to bite, tear, and chew. An army of 32 to bite, tear, and chew. We are teeth, we are teeth, we are teeth. So like this, it goes about incisors and canine and molars and premolars and all that, and how it becomes a set of 32 to chew the food and get it digested into our system.
That's a very interesting way to teach children. It's a lot of science along with storytelling.
I joke to the children, see, you won't be accused of copying because you can sing the song in your head and write down the answers when you're asked how many incisors do you have or something like that.
Absolutely. Like you said, it helps in memory. I remember memorizing a lot of science and social portions because we didn't know how better to remember them before the exams. And this seems to be a wonderful way when it is taught like this.
Also, when I tell the story, they have lot of imagination going through their heads when they listen to the story.
Now, today, be it stories or be it information, right, about science and everything is available online. It's there at our fingertips. So, where do you see the role of storytelling? Where can we introduce storytelling when we ask educators to prepare for their sessions? How does storytelling play a part in that?
See, we can easily imbibe storytelling into education. It's not very difficult. It's only a matter of thought processes changing. Education doesn't have to be serious as such. It can be made fun and memorable. Yes, what they see on the screens and learn through the internet is just information. Learning through storytelling is a slow, organic process through which every bit of the story stays with you. And each part of the story comes out to your memory. It may not be remembered immediately. All the concepts might not be remembered immediately, but they do come in at the right time, at the right moment when needed, as a flashback.
Very interesting thoughts there. If I may to follow up on the question that I asked, what is one tip or one advice that you would give teachers or even parents when they are teaching their children some topic or subject that they struggle with generally?
Down the concept into smaller bits, find a story for each part of the concept and link them together, and they will remember it very well.
I'll put that to use when I'm teaching my son the next time. Thank you for that tip. Now, you train a lot of teachers and educators. What's one moment that stands out in your memory?
What I can say with pride is after I finish a workshop, people who never thought they had certain talents in them feel so confident that they have gained something, and realization that they had those talents is the most beautiful thing that I have observed in all my workshops. That is one thing they all come and tell me after a workshop. I never realized storytelling had so much detail to it, and I didn't know that I could do all these things which you taught, like body language or vocal variety or thought processes as to how to craft a story. All these things are great motivational factors for them, and that is a proud moment for me.
As a storyteller and a teacher, can you tell me what goes on behind the scenes? What is the prep that you do before you have to share a lesson or a learning through a story?
What I normally do is I identify a story depending on the kind of audience I'm going to have, and once I decide on the stories, I research as to which place the story is from, and then I frame questions about that place, interesting topics, trivia about that place, and ask it in the form of a quiz before I start telling the story. And the children are very excited, and there are some easy questions also, so that they can answer immediately. After which I tell the story, and then I follow it up with a song, most times with the concept of the story that has to be imparted, or with the value, or anything that is fun related to the story. Suppose it is an African tale, I teach them an African song, so that there is acceptance of cultures of various places, and also learn more things about others and other people's culture.
That's lovely, Shailaja. Through your stories, it's not just information that is being passed on, but also an understanding of who we are and who people around us are. It's a lovely way for that to come together in learning.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
For children that you have taught, have you had an aha moment in your journey where a child who's been struggling with it has suddenly found or understood a concept?
Yes, of course. That is quite long ago, I should say, because when I was a teacher at school, then these concepts were very well taught to them with physical things along with the story to teach them about various concepts. So they have come and told me, I remembered this very well during tests. That is one thing I can remember now.
When storytelling helps you improve your scores, I think you'd have a lot of takers.
Not just scores, it's just the joyful memory of having listened and recollecting them with pleasantness while doing something more serious is what I feel is the true value of storytelling. In fact, there was
True.
one little boy who narrated the entire story just the way I had told it. Soon after he finished the storytelling listening session from me, and it was recorded by a friend of mine, and it was wonderful to see the entire story being narrated just the way as I had narrated. And that is enough for me, even if one child does it.
Absolutely. I think the satisfaction when somebody has learnt things the way that you have intended to teach them must be very, very fulfilling. So, Shailaja, on this journey of being a storyteller, is there a place, a circle, or a group that you go to sharpen your skills and keep yourself up to date?
Yes, Vinita, we have a community of storytellers, and especially I am proud to say that I am part of Bangalore Storytelling Society, which is a non-profit organization which encourages everyone to come together as a community just to share oral stories. And this is because of that we have so many storytellers having come out of there and who join first as a listener and then they become professional storytellers too.
Can you tell me a little bit about your upcoming storytelling workshop and whom it is for?
It is for adults and I call it the magic of storytelling. It's happening between 17th and 19th of this month, and I'm very excited to have this workshop because this is a time when we need more storytellers, more edutainers, because there is lack of tolerance, patience, lack of listening skills, lack of appreciation of small things. So I feel we need more storytellers today to take hold of the situation so that we can explain difficult concepts, awkward concepts through storytelling, which is a big, powerful instrument for each one of us. The more of them we have, the better. That is the only reason why I am having this workshop, for it is the need of the hour.
Wonderful. Shailaja, can you also talk a little bit if the participants need any prior preparation?
Definitely not. It's more important for everyone to come with a free mind. There need not be any prior preparation for them. The willingness to join the workshop is enough to set the ball rolling.
Now, you're a storyteller. What has been the most favorite story of yours that you've listened to?
My favorite story is Kali and the Rat Snake. And this is a story by Zai Whittaker. And in this story, there is a tribal boy, a Tamil tribal boy, who is a snake catcher. And he is discriminated by his classmates because he is a snake catcher's son. But then by the end of it, he proves his mettle because a snake enters the class and he catches it and everybody wants to be his friend. So this is one of my favorite stories, along with many, many others, of course.
Interesting. Listening to you, I understand that stories can be empowering. It can give us the confidence and it can help us come out of dark places in our own hearts.
Definitely. There are stories that heal, that motivate, that inspire, that can bring out the best in you.
Absolutely. Amongst the hundreds of stories that you have narrated, what is the audience's favorite, the kids' favorite?
Kids' favorite is one particular story I tell them about a Gundu Jilebi, which I tell in Kannada and English. So that's a favorite. And they say that by the end of the story, they say that they could feel the crunchiness, the sweetness of the jalebi. And they will definitely go and have a jalebi after that.
That seems like a lovely story to entice small kids, to get them to do things that they don't like particularly. So that's a trick if anybody is listening. Wonderful. I had a great time chatting up with you on storytelling and learning that an ancient art like storytelling can be used even in our modern lives and for our benefit. So, thank you for
Definitely.
this chat, Shailaja.
Thank you.